Welcome. This question says a positive 5 coulomb charge carrier has a velocity of 1i minus 2j plus 3k meters per second. So that's its ijk vector. It travels through a region of uniform magnetic field given by 3i plus 1j minus 2k Tesla. And then the question is, what force does the charge carrier experience? So if I visualize for a minute, here's my charge carrier, and then I'm going to visualize a velocity for this charge carrier. And I'm going to say the velocity goes off in that direction. There's my velocity, and this is 1i minus 2j plus 3k. That's going to be meters per second. And then we're going to have, this whole area has a uniform magnetic field. I'm going to draw it like through where the particle is, and this is going to be my B, my magnetic field, and this is going to equal 3i plus 1j minus 2k. That's going to be in Teslas, of course. And then what I didn't put in, which maybe I should have done, was this is 5 coulomb positive as my charge. Well, I've got to have a defining relationship, and the defining relationship is that the force, magnetic force, due to a charge moving through a magnetic field, is Q V cross B, where B is a vector and V is a vector and the force is a vector. So there's my defining relationship. And then I need to figure out my cross product. You can either multiply the Q into either one of these guys, but you can't multiply it into both of them. Or you can work out your cross product and then you can multiply the Q afterwards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show how to do the cross product. And what you begin with is I'm picking a good color at the moment, so I'm just going to do this. I'm going to go I, J, K. This is a bit of record keeping, just layout. And the first thing I need is V. That's most important. I have to have them in the right order, because if I reverse the order, I get the opposite answer, the correct magnitude, but the opposite direction to what I want. And that's the worst that you can do. So it's V cross B, so this would be 1, and this would be minus 2, and this would be plus 3. Let's put a plus sign in there, and this is V. That's my V vector. And then what I do is I'm going to go to green, and I'm going to do the B. And the B, V cross B, the V comes second, and that's plus 3. And then we have plus 1, and then we have minus 2. And that's my B vector. And I'm using this as a layout to help me figure out what my force should be. So I'm going to say, well, FB is equal to Q, and Q is 5, and then I'm going to do a number of lines. I hope I fit it in. So what I do is I work out what my I value is, and for that I'm actually going to put a line under the I, because I'm going to highlight under the I because I don't want to deal with the I. If I'm doing this with a piece of paper, I put my thumb over that column of numbers. And then what I do is I turn around and I say I've got to cross multiply the other two columns. So I have minus 2 times minus 2 is plus 4. And then I got to subtract from that the plus 3 times plus 1, which is plus 3. And I can put that in a little kind of like box, and that's my I component. And then what I do is I move my highlighter. So now I'm going to highlight under the J because I'm going to ignore that column, and I go back, and so the next thing is I have to remember that I put a negative sign down, and that's just the way it works. That's the way you get taught. The I is positive, the J is negative, the K is positive. So put my little square down, and now I'm multiplying across between I and K's. So 1 times minus 2 is minus 2. And then we subtract from that. Plus 3 times plus 3 is plus 9. And that's my J. And then I move my thumb. In my case, I'm going to move my highlighted little bit. Move my thumb. And now I look at this third pattern, and it's going to be a positive because it's the K. And I'm going to go, well, in that case, then this is going to be plus 1 minus 6. Okay. And then I stop for a minute and I just double check in my head. So I go plus 4, and that's minus plus 3. And then I go, that's minus 2, and that's minus plus 9. I did put my negative sign in there. And then that's plus 1, and that's going to be minus 6. And then it's, yes, good. Okay, so that looks fine to me. So now I'm running out of space a bit. I'm going to start squaring things off so I can just get rid of that highlighter because I don't need it. So now let's have a look. What I need to do is I need to work this out. So I'll do it in 2 steps. I'm going to say FB is equal to 5 times 4 minus 3 is 1. So that's going to be 4 minus 3 is 1. So that'd be 1i. And then minus 2 minus plus 9 is minus 11. Minus 11 is plus 11. And then I have 1 minus 6 is 7. So that's plus 7k. So now let's multiply out my Q. This Q V cross B. This bit here is V cross B, and this bit here is Q. So I'm going to say, oh, it's going to be 5i plus 55j plus 35k. Put my little hats on to let everybody know they're unit vectors, although people pretty much do. Put it in parentheses to tell me it's one thing. And then, most common mistake, don't forget to put down your units. I think because people put down I's, J's and K's in their mind, they've said, I put down letters, so they forget to put down the letters of the units. And we look to see if it's there, and it is there, so that's comforting. And so it is a vector, and it is in a direction which is given by this. If you look at the answers, these are things that I see. First of all, 19. I think I got 19 by just basically taking the 1 and the 11 and the 7 and adding them together. And you find people will do that sometimes. They've done a whole bunch of things not well there. The first is they forgot to multiply by Q, and then the second is they were trying to give me a number for my answer, but it's a cross product, it's a vector. So that cannot be right. And this also cannot be right because it's a cross product. So it's got to be a vector. And this time at least they did remember to multiply by the charge. And then this is where they did the cross product in the right direction, in the correct direction. They got the plus 1 and the minus 2 and the plus 3, but they forgot to multiply by the charge. At least they're given a vector. And this one, and these people, they did the cross product, but they got them in reverse order. So they said they did B cross V rather than V cross B, and so they have all the right numerical values, but they have the wrong signs, which means, in terms of, I live in Florida, so it means rather than driving from Tampa to Miami, they drove from Tampa to Atlanta, which is the worst outcome. It's not just the wrong sign. You're twice as far away from where you want to be than when you started. So you can't just dismiss the signs and say, well, I nearly got it, you know. And then we got people who managed to do it all right. They did the cross product, they did it in the right order, and they remembered to multiply by the charge. So those are just some of the common mistakes that I see on this. I did a quick calculation, and cross products in Physics 2 come up all the time. And I think if you don't know how to do cross products, then if you don't know the technique, if you don't know how to do cross products, I think you miss something like 15 or 20 points from the total tests. So it's really worth learning, and it really saves an awful lot of visualization. It's hard to see how you can do this question without using cross products. You know, remember, everything that we introduce is there to make you stronger and make life easier for you. So this is a really good technique. As a general rule, there's various cross products we're going to deal with to do with magnetism, and as a general rule, when I look at those equations, B comes as a second part of the cross product. We're in a chapter about magnetism, but the B is always coming at the back side of the cross product. So if that helps, it helps, but you should know the equations individually. So there we have it.